What's up, guys? Today I thought let me give you a little bit of a story time. Get to know your boy early years before we got into doing the YouTubings. So I'm gonna go back about 15 plus years back when I spent almost about 8 months in the studio with Sam Soweto. Sam Soweto is that's the name that he's known by. That's his musical name. I think his real name, Smkelo, who at one point was known for being a member or a group member of The Soil. Right now he runs his own solo career, and there's this story right now between of him and maphorisa stealing, thefting, cutting people off and whatnot. And I wanted to talk about a story time. Okay, I'm not a musical person. I'm not musical anymore. In high school, I was like right now. If you ask me to do it, nothing will come out. The musical capabilities died out when we became people of the ministry. And so on this channel, we don't subscribe for this type of stories. We don't talk about this type of stories. On this particular story, I wanted to talk about it because of the nature of the story that I'm talking about. The idea that he motivated, that Sam Soweto had motivation for a song, but he was then kind of kicked off of the copyright stuff. Now, I do hope actually this leads. Guys, can you tell me where I can watch film? Because in this film it's a portion of the story that I'm talking about in this film. This film goes back to 2007-8 of me performing with Sam Soweto when we had done a song. So I done a song with him, and I remember there was another song that I had done with Smkelo at the same time with a guy by the name of Ras Jiga. He does reggae right now. He's still in music. And then there was a third song that I did with him with a guy by the name of West, Ulung San. That's his name on Facebook, Ulung West. And so those are my two other references. It's just, the Bible says, upon two witnesses shall it. Yeah. So I'm giving two witnesses. There were 3 songs, and it falls within the line of what I'm talking about concerning the story that you're reading, that you're hearing about right now, of Smkelo saying something or being in the studio saying something that kind of just leads the song on, right? And so it just speaks to talent, basically. So where does this entire thing happen? So I met Smkelo at a place. There was a whole entertainment thing that was done way back at Sa Bono, right near Sa Bono. Sa Bono is in the new town area. Right next to Sa Bono, there's a small little portion of building right here that you see for kids to find an expression for the arts. Friend of mine, you remember my assistant, who sometimes send me stories. We had gone to Sa Bono, right? We had gone to Sa Bono, and right next to it, we saw people. I think there were people that were singing outside. And those days, we were very much into music. We did have footage when we went in there, but I don't know what we did with it. Okay? I do know that I still have footage of that day, particularly when we were at Science, when we went to Sa Bono. So in Sa Bono, basically what they have is they will have like all this science exhibition stuff. They have all this science exhibition stuff like this, where you will have like all kinds of different science experiments and stuff. So right next to it, we see people saying, "Oh, what's going on here?" So that's how I ended up joining. You would just become a member. They know you. And once they know you, you could register to have a session. So particularly, I'll talk for the recording studio portion of it. This was it was really an amazing initiative. I wish things like that were still there. And so you would request for a slot to come and record. You could request for a slot for any time of the day, and consistently, a lot of times when Smkelo's sessions were there, I would be there, and that's how I got to meet him. Because Smkelo, even though he didn't have, this is how much this guy loves music. This guy, he used to stay. He stays in, I think it's from DK, isn't it? I'm not sure. I could be wrong there. But it's from Soweto, right? Which is where the name Sam Soweto comes from. Before we knew him as Smkelo, right? He would come from Soweto. So he would go to school. He would not even change clothes. This guy would not even change clothes. He would just get to his house, take off his top, his school top, with the pants and school shoes, get into a taxi and come to town, just to be in the studio. That's it. Nothing much, just to be in the studio. Whether he had a session or he didn't have a session, he would be there. You know, that's how much this guy had love for music. And from this passion, I bet you right now, each and every single one of us used to say, this guy is going to be famous. There was no doubt. We were like, I remember we're talking, me, West, and this particular gentleman, and we're like, we might not make it, guys, but this guy is going to make it. This guy is going to be in the music industry. He's going to be part of, he will be people that will be looking up to. It'll be those uncle stories, like, you know, I was in studio with him, kind of like what I'm doing now. But he would go that far. That kind of just shows you how much he didn't just have talent, but he had so much effort into his art. And so this particular 3 songs that I want to give you a hint of, the song that I made with West, it was about falling in love. It's a very funny song. And so West had his rap for it, and I had introduced West to Sa Bono. So I brought a lot of my friends to Sa Bono, even Russ Jiga. When I brought Russ, it was out of that, because I went to school with Russ. We were in the same school. And also, funny enough, Russ had an uncle who had a huge studio, and we tried joining that, but they were like, you know what, you guys are still kids, so they didn't take us serious, which is why when we found Sa Bono, we took it extremely serious. And so he had written his thingy. So West had written his song, this thing, which was the first collaboration, by the way, but he didn't have a chorus. So the song didn't have like a direction or anything like that, and it didn't even have a beat to it. Smkelo comes in, and then West put down the keyboard, and then he put, I still have the song. God forbid I play it for you guys. This is a very bad song. Funny enough, guys, a part of the story is it's a very funny part, is that out of everybody in that studio, I was one of the few people that actually got some of the songs out. A lot of people were not allowed. And I can't even remember how I ended up copying the songs out. You just recorded and you kept it. And then to kind of have these big events. I don't know how they put these things together, but you would have people, some from the industry and stuff like that, come in. There were people that used to act at Sa Bono. There were people that used to do, there was all kinds of things. And so they would put up these events. And if you had a performance, you had a chance of showcasing your talent to people, like to a large crowd, which is where this film comes in. West put down his song, but he didn't have a direction for the song. And Smkelo comes in and he puts this part to the song. He just hummed it like on the side. Boom, it made the song. You know, you'd write a song, or you'd write the lyrics of it and not have like the direction of the song, or you write this verse, you spend time, or you just being in someone else's recording session, you might come up with rap that you want to build on, and he gives you a melody that kind of directs your song. That was just an ordinary, that was songs that he would not even be on. He just gives you a melody or something that gives you a direction, to a point where almost everybody wanted to record with him, because you might have the raps and he knows, he just has an input. Okay, it's not like It's taking away the you would sing around what you were, whatever you were actually rapping about, and then make a melody out of it, and then out of that you have a song. Basically, there was so much of that in that studio. There was so much of that we experienced in that period. Now, the thing that I would kind of, oh, by the way, my name back then, guys, my name back then, my name was Trigger. Ay. Ukuhamba ukubona. Utsama kubona. Uchimlanda ubona. You know, it's quite a very interesting, it's an interesting storyline, honestly. You know, and so you would be in the studio, somebody puts out, or during their session, they do whatever part they're doing, they do the other part, and then they get stuck, you know, or feel like, oh, you know, the song just needs something. He just has an input. He had such an ear for music that he has an input on the song, boom, you're like, yeah, solid, that's a solid. I'm talking about even songs that he was not on, okay? Songs that he was not, that you won't have his voice on it, or something like that. He had such an ear for music, you know. The particular song that I collaborated with, that I made with him, was about loss, or suffering from loss. I had the raps, you know, but it didn't give it that. It didn't have like good flavor. But that entire song, and then there was another song that I did, that he contributed the melody for the song, or how the song can go. I can think from songs that I personally had. Okay, he must have had. Okay, if I said 10 songs, if I said I made 10 songs, which I didn't. If I said I made 10 songs, out of those 10 songs, like half of those songs, he had a contribution. You know, that's how much of an ear for music he did have. And so one day when we were going home, I think that day there were slots, and then there was some, I think it was a holiday or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But on that particular day, when we got to the studio, when I got to the studio, he came to the studio, there was just no one. And I think we did the session, and then at 5 they used to close. And so when they closed, we were walking back, and we passed by Bree, because I used to stay in Hillbrow. And he asked me this question, and he was like, Ricky, do you think we'll make it? My name was Trigger, né? He didn't say Ricky. He said, do you think we'll make it? That question would stay with me my entire struggle years. You know, he started becoming very popular, like a year or two after that time when we were in Clubhouse. I'd see him on TV, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's Smkelo, that's Samza there. That's Samza. And before you know it, I think there was a little bit of drama between him and the Soil and stuff. And then he went solo. So he did a solo career where he did this jazz music. It was very soulful music type of stuff. But even in that, you can still hear his creativity, no matter what genre you heard him. He just knows how to ride the wave of what the song is about or whatnot. Some people's talent is just pretty much like that. Then you have the maphorisas. You know, yeah, they might know one or twos and do one or twos, but they'll just kind of suck out that the life out of other people's thinking. Now, in those 10 plus years of my struggle years, I would constantly remember that song, that question he asked me. Do you think we'll make it? You know, I don't even remember what I answered him. I was like, yes, you know, we will what, you know. I turned into Martin Luther there. I have a dream. Clubhouse shut down a while after that. And funny enough, we were kids. We were such small kids. We didn't even keep in contact. And people just kind of like went, and we grew individually and stuff like that. And so some people's talent is really, really just amazing to have around. you know. And then you have people, personalities like devils. I don't know what's wrong with maphorisa. Like, does it take joy? Like, how much money do you want that you would want talent right next to you to just completely vanish and only be it that you are the one that's seen? Some people just have that. They have the talent in them so much, and other people see it. You know, I don't know. I think maphorisa thinks like he can wiggle himself out of everything. Some people just have such talent that even people that don't know him, they can see this guy's influence. They can just see it. You know, yes, there's the video that kind of gives the credit for the contribution that he made in the song and whatnot, or whatever they're disputing over there right now. But this thing, for a person who was with him in the studio at one point, okay, you might say, it's not studio level where you are recording professionally. Yeah, but I can testify of his testimony, of his talent, of how good of a talent he has. You know, when the Bible says, you know, your gift shall make ways for you, clear said. You know, you don't even need to. You can put 100 people in one room. The one who's the most talented will stick out. And they're not the loudest person, okay? So sometimes louder people can tend to take up thinking, but talent just sticks out. I'm not saying this concerning the current situation and just leaving it. No. That one, you have rights, brother. You have rights there. I'm talking about in general for the rest of us who are listening to the story. Sometimes some betrayals thing, it's not even worth paying attention to, because if you do that, it will deviate your journey and stuff. You forge ahead, because that's where your talent will be seen, you know. And so, y'all, tell me your thoughts. You know, you might have a story like that, you know, but you might have encountered with people. You know, when I turned to dancing, I met people like Kenzo. There's a guy called Kenzo. He was part of the Teddy Bears. And we became very close, to a point where when I was doing when we went clubbing, it was with Kenzo. We went with Kenzo. And, you know, and then years later, I would see Kenzo on TV. And I'm like, Haibo. I'm like, these are the people that I was dancing with then. These are the people that I was singing with then. And, you know, and so you start to ask. That's why I say that question stayed with me. Will we make it? Because I had seen all these other people that I was with. And then you end up seeing them doing very well. And you learn to celebrate them and use that as a motivation for your own journey, to say, I can make something out of myself. I can't just sit and do nothing. No ways. I can do something with myself. But don't let the hurt hinder. Don't let the hurt stop you, and then you stop pushing ahead, because then that's where substance abuse comes in. That's where all these other things that hinder comes in, because it steals away your joy to pursue anymore. It's Ricky, and I hope this video finds you well, and I